Oh, the things I do for you guys. I'm taking time out of my busy day, getting blocked on Tinder, just so that I can bring you, like, 2-week-old news. You're all gonna love it, trust me. But either way, welcome back, everybody. Today, we're actually gonna look at the lovely 12.30 Crossout Snowstorm update. Now, if y'all don't know what this is basically the annual Snowstorm, snow-themed, holiday-themed, whatever you'd like to call it, event that comes around once in a year, usually until about midway in January, and it has like kind of a few interesting stuff here that I wanted to go over today, so let's give it a quick old gander. Now, of course, first things first, you're going to get the return of the lovely present heist. Now, if y'all don't know, the present heist is essentially just a mission where you go around from point A to point B. You sit there, do a couple of waves, maybe face a boss, and then interspersed between that is 3 side objectives that you can do that can either do A, temporary energy shield, which is the equivalent to like a barrier or an Aegis, repairing of 10% of the durability of the truck's car, because that's what you're protecting. You're protecting a car going from A to B, and you can also install a permanent equalizer on top of this truck, although I think that's up to like a certain cap. I'm not quite sure how many equalizers you can get on there. I've only gotten like 6 on there before. But it's generally a mission that lasts, you know, if you have a good team, it can last anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes. If you got a less than stellar team, it might be a bit harder. But the main thing that actually may interest you in this mode, because the unfortunate thing is, the only thing this offer you is crackers if you do complete it. However, if you actually get somewhere on the leaderboard, you can actually get some pretty good stuff. So from 3,000 to 5,000, you get the candy exhaust, which is alright, looks alright. From 1,000 to 3,000, you get the green chrome paint, which honestly, I wanted to get. And if you go from 1 to 1,000, basically the creme de la crop of this present heist mode, you get this thing called the Glober Duck, which let's go ahead and take a look at those real quickly. So if you come over here into your lovely game, you can take a look at these rewards by going over here to the present heist mission on the mode select, go over here to leaderboards, and go ahead and take a look here. As you can see, I only got to round 39, which was roughly around 3,000. It looks like now I have been kicked down all the way down to 6,400, but I guess that makes sense. A lot of people are going to get stuck at the 39 mark, and if you can do it fast, well, you get placed up there faster. But as you can see, we got the green chrome paint, the lovely candy exhaust, and then all the way up here, you get the Glober Duck. And honestly, I don't think there is actually a way to get that green chrome paint, since it actually hasn't been thrown out yet. But let's take a gander. Yep, so can't quite see it yet because nothing's been out, and the only people who would really be able to do anything with that are those with maybe promo accounts, but even then, I'm not quite sure if they've had that. But alright, next, beyond that, we also have a limited New Year's deals, which essentially what it is that you can pay to get a certain fusion on an item, and these will be predetermined fusions. So what you'll do is that typically you tend to mash 2 parts together to create one unique part. And you need basically 3 total, and you have 2 sacrificial pieces, and you come out with 1 brand new part by yourself. And if you take a look at this in the overall marketplace, you go over here to the upgrade page, you pick out, say, any random XYZ item, put 2 in, and they can get a variety of modules going on that. However, if you go to the actual crafting page for the Snowstorm, you actually get a variety of them that you actually just get predetermined. For example, this Reaper gun here has extra durability, extra damage, and reduced spread, which means overall the shots are much tighter. And honestly, these are absolutely ideal fusion perks that you'd want for some of these things. So it makes sense if you're really trying to get like one hyper-specific thing. But a weird thing about it is that not only do you need the 2 base parts, you also need a variety of resources. So this actually becomes a very expensive fusion event. Especially this, like 300 uranium. Holy Jesus, that is a lot of uranium. It's like $30,000 worth of uranium to get a nice scorpion here, or just, you know, a shiitake ton for this piercer here. Which honestly seems a bit weird because compared to other events, you can get a fusion event in which all it requires is 1 of the other items, so you only need 2 total to get an upgraded part, which means it's much cheaper, except this one is just much more expensive. So someone who's very frugal and very sparingly upgrading parts, this doesn't really make a whole bunch of sense to someone like me. But honestly, if you're like one of those that are really trying to min-max and you want to reduce down as much waste as possible, this can be the way to go. But the thing is, too, you also have to remember, there's a variety of upgrade paths that you can get here, and all of these will tend to increase your damage to some degree. So it's not like if you fused it unoptimally, you don't get any damage increase. You do get a damage increase. It's just like, you know, not that raw 5% damage increase. It may actually be better or worse depending on the configuration of your build. So don't discount the actual cheaper fusion event. Don't just like rush to do this. Consider the possibility of the other ones here, because you actually end up making yourself way better resources. And if you want to take a look at what's going to be here eventually, you can go ahead and go over here to this lovely list. I'll link down below, and you can see what's available in some time. Now, you could also try to use this to potentially get a gain on the market, because if you know something's going to come down the pipeline, you could try to snatch it up real quick and then wait for the event to roll around and then sell the excess parts for a little bit of profit. I'm not sure if you'll make a whole bunch of money doing that, but if that's something you're willing to risk, by all means, give it a gander. And also, just to make sure, and just as a quick little side note, you'll also get other things like decorative items, such as the Sweet Cane, Frostbite, hubcaps. This is a decoration that you can get for your kind of building area inside of your garage. So there's other stuff. It's not just like pure fusions. There are like random other accessories that you can get. So don't discredit those too. All right, next thing, this kind of involves the present heist mission. Again, I'm not sure why it's disjointed here. But essentially, you know, hey, get these certain requirements, and then you get a variety of portraits, which is great if you're kind of one of those people that likes to collect that type of stuff. Next thing is we actually got a New Year's garage here, which is actually kind of an interesting thing. As you can see, if you actually go out to the garage right now, it is completely snow-themed. It may not look like it initially, but yep, it is. Snowy as brother truckin' heck. Absolutely looks lovely. I love it, honestly. I love just the change of the scenery, and I love it when they do it without charging you, you know, $30, $40. So good on them, good on them. I appreciate the extra little bit of decorations, even if it's only around. I actually wish they could make this sort of like a opt-in feature, where if you don't want to, you don't have to have it. But if you also want it to stick around for a long time, also have that ability to make it stick around. Because I would love to have this year-round, to be honest. I way prefer this over just the kind of drab-looking wasteland. But I don't know, let me y'all know what you think about this land down below. Next thing, they also got the brand new Santa pack here. I'm not going to play the music because I'm more than certain it's copyrighted. And it's also, like, ungodly loud. But as you can see here, we get a variety of new parts, including a, I think it's called a CK for the Shiv here. Let's see, what is it called here? It is called the Glaze. And it's for the Shiv steering wheel and the Shiv non-steering wheel. So if you're into that sort of thing, it's kind of cool. Doesn't really make sense on a truck build, though, because the Shiv is a very, very brittle wheel. It's also really high power score, so it's not really ideal for a lot of builds, but cool. If you're into that thing, you got that. Also, you also got this nice, lovely rocket launcher here, which is kind of cool. Let me actually go ahead and show you what it looks like in battle. So out here in the test range here, you can kind of see it. We got the nice little holograms here, which kind of look cool if you're into that sort of thing. But then the rocket itself, you got to hold down, it charges up its shots, and then it releases them. So it's similar to that of like a mixture between a cricket and a wasp. Except this time it requires a little bit of a wind up here. So you got to actually be cognizant of that. That can actually mess you over when it comes to combat. Because you can't just instantly poke out and fire. You actually got to, like, you know, line up your target. You got to wait for the thing to reload. And then you got to fire. It also has quite a bit of drop, as you can see here. So if you actually shoot in the distance here, it's actually got quite a bit of leeway. So if you want to shoot very long range, you got to really lead that on. Another interesting thing about this is that if you can see, it is a fully sideways articulating rocket launcher here. So it works well with the icebox, because the icebox gives you like, what, 10-15% damage on limited angle weapons. So that's kind of cool. It also allows you to get better range in certain aspects. I'm not quite sure how good this thing is in the sideways aspect, but as you can see here, it is very limited. So you can either have excellent up or down firing, or you can have excellent side-to-side swiping for brawling. Just depends on what you're going for. Kind of cool, but, you know, it's definitely not meta. Plus, the perk on it's not very useful either. If you actually look at the perk here, it's a really weird one, which it kind of reduces the damage you get from the explosion. So say if you're within melee range and you shoot this thing, you tend to get a certain amount of damage. However, with this, you'll get 30% less, which, I mean, to be fair, this type of weapon is not utilized very strongly at close range. So having it have that little extra, like, resistance, I don't even know what to call it, doesn't really seem to be a terribly useful perk. It's mostly going to be used for its unique firing angle mechanism and its turning radius, if anything. The perk itself is honestly quite useless. which, I mean, it can be useful depending on your type of strategy here. Beyond that, we also have the return of the traditional Frostburn pack, which is essentially the tackler on a icebox with a APC, couple of twin wheels. I mean, it's the same thing as always, except you just got, you know, it back again. Yay, congratulations. Like, I'm not sure why they keep bringing back the old thing. Honestly, I think this is actually even a downgrade from last year, because last year it had a absolutely fabulous paint and the hubcap called the Snowflake, which honestly was really pretty. Compared to this, it's not nearly as engaging as I thought it was. Not to mention that it's still like, what, 60 bucks? Yeah, no, I really don't care for it. After that, you also got Gaijin Pass, which is going to help you. It's basically like 2-sip again, which, okay, cool, like, not really going to be useful. Other than that, we got Leviathan missions here. Rather, I should say missions. A change to Leviathans. And this is honestly kind of a weird change, too, because essentially what happens is that after the third weapon that you install of the same type, so say if you install 3 machine guns, 3 miniguns, 3 shotguns, you know, whatever, the fourth one of that will have double power. So say I install 3 Caucuses on a Leviathan, and I try to install a 4th Caucus, that 4th Caucus, instead of taking up 4 power, will now take up 8 power. And this is just basically to incentivize you to build out a Leviathan with different weapon types. So it's kind of weird. I'm assuming they're doing this because they want to prevent Leviathans that are just, you know, drone spammers or who are just cannon spammers. Because if you don't know, Leviathan missions, there are a lot of Leviathans that are either drone spammers, which do really well, or cannon spammers, which since cannons have excellent HP, they can definitely absorb a lot of damage, and they do a lot of damage, and they're quite accurate at a very long range. So I guess that's kind of more targeted at those things, maybe also those that utilize, I'm guessing the lances? That'll also probably be a big thing. It's basically just to prevent that, so not one Leviathan can have a super hard to kill niche. So it's going to make Leviathans overall a bit easier to do. And as you can see, I kind of turned my Leviathan into a, kind of a giant pizza. Very wonky looking, but actually strangely effective in combat. I know it looks like I lost, but actually I'm getting a lot more copper than I usually do. Because if you actually look here, if you return your Leviathan, even after a loss, you can actually get a decent chunk of copper. And I'm not sure if I actually have a picture of this to show, but honestly, I've gotten a situation which I've lost, but I've killed quite a few enemies, and that actually gave me some like 200, 230 copper. It's still actually pretty profitable, even if you don't win. So I would still try to put your own Leviathan out there. You can actually make a pretty penny. So, I mean, it's alright. Still not going to make me do Leviathan missions, though. Next thing, they also got a couple of things changed here. They reduced, I think, the 12 daily challenges for the D-Course containers. So, yay, congratulations. Hit and run's been returned to hard raids, which honestly is kind of nice, considering that basically frontier defense and convoy missions are the only way to make money in PvE. This is kind of a nice little change here. And the raiders with the cohort cabin, which are really only Leviathans, can now actually use the perk. So that's a 30% damage reduction drone on itself and allies. Other than that, they have a variety of balance changes here that really, I honestly could give 2 hoots less about, because the majority of these are very, 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 very minor changes that you wouldn't even notice. The big thing here, though, is that the Caucasus got nerfed considerably in terms of durability and in weight, so I guess you can put more armor on there. But holy heck, that's not a, The Caucasus now have been nerfed like twice in a row, and these things are so huge that this durability reduction is actually kind of significant. Because the thing is that the Caucasus themselves can already have, like, say, get shot off by a sinus within 3 or 4 seconds. So just putting this on here makes them even more vulnerable. So, we'll have to see. Turning radius increased for the Pyre. That's probably because rockets and hurricanes right now are really in meta. So I'm guessing they're trying to counter-react that. Capcans, essentially now you can run over them if you are fat and fast, and you shouldn't get harpooned by them. And I think it's also actually able to harpoon fast-moving vehicles. I haven't really noticed too much changes with that, but I guess it really helps more in like the niche circumstances. It looks like the Cyclone itself also received a bit of a changes here, improved the physical model, and the time to overheat was increased by 25% here. So this actually makes the Cyclone way more useful as a kind of pinning down weapon, similar to that of the Reaper, but, you know, dealing with the actual side effects of cooling down. So I mean, cool. I guess it's kind of cool. The Cyclone itself has actually been kind of non-meta for a very long time. So we'll see if this changes that. From what I understand, though, the Cyclone itself is still not very high. I still want to say it's, like, still up there, not very high. Wow, I could not spell Cyclone for the life of me. Let's just put in Psy, see what happens. Here we go. Although, Lord have mercy, the price of that bad boy has gone up dramatically since the patch here, and actually the sale price is starting to exceed the buy orders here, so that's obviously pretty interesting to see happen. So I guess that means Cyclone has come back into meta, but I haven't seen too many of it in Clan Wars, but alright, good change, good change. Nice to see weapons change in and out of metas, kind of change things up here. The location of the barrel's weapons physical model has been improved, and the spread is reduced by 25%. That's kind of a big oof for Retro. Or actually, not really. It's kind of a buff, to be honest. That allows you to be way more concise with the Retro itself. I guess it kind of reduces the spray and pray pattern that you would see where Retros would just toss grenades across the map and get a lot of damage on things. But for PvE, where the Retro really shines, this actually may be a bit of an issue because the Retro itself already excels in PvE. So this is probably just going to make it way worse. I mean, if you go into PvE right now with a Retro build, you can take up so much points that you can actually cause your allies to miss checkpoints and actually end up losing points. It actually happens all the dang time. So, I guess a buff for them? Alright. Fortune Mine Layer required to launch projectiles has been reduced by 25%. I still have no idea what they mean by this. I'm more than certain, or I guess I could just say with probability, this probably refers to how the Fortune fires. Because the thing is that if you're firing the Fortune and you like veer off left, right, somewhere out of screen, and the Fortune can't keep up or is blocked by something, it actually stops firing. So I'm guessing in this way, it actually makes it so the Fortune can properly fire all of its shots without getting stuck on something. So maybe that helps there. And then the Mastodon itself getting a buff. The double shot charging time is reduced by 20%, and it reloads 7% faster. So I guess you could just shoot faster with the Mastodon. Honestly, though, I think even with that, the Mastodon is still, honestly, quite a weak sauce relic. Sure, it does explosion damage and heats up parts, but honestly, I haven't seen it really in metas at all. Although, to be fair, the double tap aspect of it with 2 Mastodons might be kind of beneficial because it's a great team support weapon and you could probably strip weapons pretty nicely. But, I don't know. Who knows? Also, I guess the Meat Grinder and Big Rims have been changed here. And they've changed a spread thing on the equalizers here. So, okay, cool. That's all great. But other than that, I think that's kind of all the major points here. There's a bunch of miscellaneous things they can take a look through in more detail if you'd like to. But by all means, I'll link that down below. You guys can take a look through it yourselves if you want to see anything more specific that I didn't cover in detail. Because the thing is, honestly, there's a lot of things in here that you really don't need to care about. Other than that, there's also the pack sale on PC, and I believe this is also available on all consoles. So by all means, go ahead, pick up a pack here at 50% discount. It's a great time. This is the only time you want to purchase a pack, because purchasing a pack on full sale price, whoo, let me tell you, that is a absolute huge ripoff. So go ahead, pick it up now. Although, to be fair, I would caution yourselves, because there are things that you can buy, such as premium time, that go on sale occasionally, and those things can offer a way, way, way better coin to dollar ratio than anything else in this game. So wait for that premium time if you're trying to get like the best bang for your buck. But if you just want a pack of something that you've been looking at for a long time, by all means, go ahead, pick this up, and that'll work just fine. But I think other than that, I think we'll call it good here. Like I said, links down below to everything that you've seen here. But other than that, I want to thank you all for joining this evening. If you had fun, follow whatever platform is your favorite, and let me know down below what you guys think about this brand new patch. Have you enjoyed it? Yes, no? Let me know. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.